My life has now reached the fullness of its years. It is certain that I will go to birth in the Pure Land before you. So without fail, I will await you there. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sister.
You're all not too hot, right? Not too hot? That was a little hot. But then again, I was moving around, helping to set things up and to print things out. But we are in July now, and of course, as everyone is very well aware, it is Obon season. It is the season of festivals, Japanese food, probably drinking beer and dancing the night away, wearing beautiful yukata, and of course going to the Obon service before the dancing starts. There's a lot that I'm certain many of us missed. And just to be totally transparent, for me as a minister, a Kaikyoshi minister in the Northwest District, this is my first year of experiencing the Northwest Obon season fully open in person. So yesterday I had the privilege of attending Seattle Betsuin's Obon service, and Rinban Kusunoki was so wonderful and invited me to chant with him on the Onaijin for the service, and also asked me to play ryuteki for Gagaku up there as well. In fact, actually, tonight I have to go back and play ryuteki again, so I'm pretty busy this weekend. But again, one of the really important things about Obon is that it is a time where we reflect and think of happy memories and the lessons and the love that we received from our loved ones long past, or even recently past. And Obon has a lot of cultural meaning behind it as well, folk meaning behind it. Do you all know why we hang the lanterns in the first place? We always, of course, right, usually at any Obon you go to, there's chochi lanterns hanging, right, around the yabuna, or around the whole area. This is to welcome our past ancestors back to this world. Sometimes people leave food out, for the spirit of our ancestors past. Other times, what's interesting, depending on the local tradition, one of my favorite ones, of course, is they leave straw horses and straw cattle at the windows of their various houses. Do you know why this is? This is because in Japan, Obon traditionally lasts for 3 days. And in the first day, our past ancestors come charging down back to this world, from the spirit world, on straw horses, because they are so eager to be with us, eat with us, drink with us, be happy with us, join in the merriment. But it only lasts for 3 days, so on the third day, they have to go back to the spirit world, and they don't want to leave, right? Of course, it's so hard when we see family and relatives who we love so much, and even like in life, right? I always love it when my brother comes to visit, and I always hate it when he has to go back on the plane and go back to his house. So because they don't want to leave, they leave on straw cattle, because cattle are much, much slower than horses coming here. Regardless of the meaning, and regardless of whichever cultural and or folk meaning you put behind Obon, it is a time to reflect on our past loved ones. But for us as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, there is a very Buddhist meaning behind Obon as well. This is also to rejoice and to be merry and to dance and celebrate their birth in the Pure Land, for they are now fully awakened Buddhas and fully awakened beings who come back to this world. In our tradition, they come back to this world too, and lead us to the Pure Land through Namo Amida Butsu. This is why I very much love this quote from Shinran Shoni, our founder, he wrote this in a letter to one of his followers. First, clarifying the Buddhist meaning or the teachings behind why we say Namo Amida Butsu and how Namo Amida Butsu leads us to birth in the Pure Land. But then ends the letter with, "My life has now reached the fullness of its years. It is certain that I will go to birth in the Pure Land before you. So without fail, I will await you there." He is ministering to his followers and to the people, who look to him for guidance. He is assuring them that even though all of us will eventually reach the same destination of the end of this life, that is nothing to fear, for he will also await us in the Pure Land. But again, right, this is a real significant meaning for us as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. While it is very wonderful and happy that we all go out and celebrate and experience the various different Obon and try to learn the dances by the next Obon so you can dance very well in the circle, it is also important to reflect on the Buddhist teaching of the Pure Land and our many ancestors before us who have gone before. And in a way, do come back to this world to guide us there. We still dance a dance where we do gassho. We still come to the service before the Obon happens. We still have our obutsudan where we light our candles and light our incense. We still reflect on the memories of our past loved ones who have now departed this world and have been born in the Pure Land. While we are able to live this life fully and celebrate and enjoy great food and come back to being in a somewhat normal world where we are able to expect Obon every single year, we still must not forget the lessons and the love that our past ancestors have given us. For if they were not here, if just one of those ancestors did not exist or did not make the path or walk the Buddhist path the way that we have now, would we be here today? That is a question worth pondering. I am so happy that Obon season is here now, for it definitely gives us cause to celebrate, and it definitely gives me a chance to experience new dances, new people, and of course, enjoy camaraderie between ministers and members alike. But I also am filled with a deep sense of nostalgia, a deep sense of what the Japanese will call natsukashi, a deep sense of what my life used to be before I was a minister, when I was a child going to the Lodi Buddhist Church's Obon, and my mother carrying me around the circle, dancing. I remember my grandparents leading some of the dancing. I remember my Auntie Laurel, who was also a dance instructor in the inner circle that we all look to for guidance when we are misstepping or when we are trying to figure out what that next step is. These are wonderful memories from the past. I also remember my grandfather calling out the numbers for bingo when they would have a bingo at the Obon as well. There are so many memories that I can think of. And sadly, I have not been to Lodi's Obon for a very, very long time. Neither have I been to the other Obon that I would used to frequent as well. At the same time, I can bring these feelings from the past, these wonderful memories, lessons, and memories of my past loved ones, like my grandparents, with me to these new Obon as well. Realizing that there is more than one way to dance the Tankobushi. Realizing that everybody has their own traditions and their ways of doing things. We all have these things that we can experience from time to time. We can bring up these memories, and sometimes doing a step, or saying the Nembutsu, or listening to a song from Obon can trigger a sense memory from us. But I like to, of course, we have definitely, our brains work in these ways scientifically. I also like to think of this in a very spiritual way as well, as a way of our past ancestors reminding us of the wonderful times that we used to have as children and the times that we are having now as adults. I would like to really express my sincere gratitude to all members here at the Tacoma Buddhist Temple who are working tirelessly to bring our Obon at the end of the month of July 29th. As a person who used to attend Obon as just a guest, I would take for granted the food that would be made, the dancing instructors who would, flawlessly perform their dances. I didn't realize the amount of work, planning, scheduling, coordination, and even negotiating with cities, right, of getting these city blocks blocked off so we could actually have an Obon festival. Of course, it's always wonderful just to be able to go to a festival as a guest. But for all of us members who help and tirelessly work to put on an Obon, I know that we can all fully appreciate the work that goes into putting on something as large as Obon. And once again, it brings to mind the tireless working of the Buddha Dharma in our daily lives. Yes, of course, making money is very important, and we have to keep the temple lights on. But more importantly, we are sharing ourselves with the general community as well, to show that we ourselves have these beautiful traditions from the past and the present, and hopefully continuing into the future of showcasing our teachings, our dances, our culture, our personalities, our people. It is a wonderful time for us to celebrate with each other and to work hard to continue the tradition of Jodo Shinshu here in the United States. I would like to thank you all so much for coming today for today's service. Next weekend, we will have our Hatsubon service, where we will remember those who we have lost from last year's Obon to this year's Obon, but also rejoice in their birth in the Pure Land. So with this in mind, will you all please join me in Gassho? My life has now reached the fullness of its years. It is certain that I will go to birth in the Pure Land before you, so without fail, I will await you there. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo